Last week, the LSU Tigers took care of business against Georgia, knocking off the Gym Dogs at home for the first time in 18 years. Today, the Tigers take a road trip to Kentucky, where Michelle Gales and the rest of the Wildcats have upset on their mind. It's LSU and Kentucky on the mats.
Mississippi State wins. Go Rebels! Here comes the ball. Go, go!
A town wild for its cats on the hard court tonight turns its attention to gymnastics. The SEC's top-ranked team is in town as the number 3 LSU Tigers pay a visit to Memorial Coliseum to take on the Kentucky Wildcats. And we welcome you to Memorial Coliseum in Lexington, Kentucky. I'm Jen Hildreth. The LSU Tigers are undoubtedly one of the hottest teams in the country right now. But tonight, for the first time in 4 meets, they'll have to take their show on the road. And make no mistake about it, there is no hungrier team in the SEC right now than Kentucky. The Wildcats are looking for their first SEC win, but remember, this is a team that took Alabama down to the wire in their last meet. You know the LSU Tigers are very aware of that fact, and they are not taking this meet lightly. For more on LSU, let's bring in Lori Strom-Ballard.
Thanks, Jen. The LSU Tigers entered the season with a few demons to fight after a talented 2004 team failed to qualify to the National Super 6 final, a loss that has proven to be their ultimate motivator this year. Now, midway through the season, the Tigers have officially caught the eyes of the rest of the nation. For the second consecutive week, they find themselves in the top 3, and they've claimed one of the signature wins of the year. After 10 years, LSU finally beat perennial powerhouse Georgia. Coach, do you feel as if a weight has been lifted from your shoulders, and how does such a win propel you into the second half of the season?
Well, yes, and it's a lot of pressure in that meet, and I think it was a very good win for us. But it really is just kind of another meet. You have to prepare your team for the next outing, and I think propelling us into the rest of our season, what we need is a little bit of rest, a little bit of time away from hard pressure competition without really having a let-up. That's hard to balance.
Tonight is your first road meet this month. Will you need to make any adjustments?
Well, I think just adjusting to the equipment is enough. You know, we're used to a different runway on vaulting, and I think that has really caused us some problems, having a hard time adjusting to that. But I think it's just coming in and staying focused and not just letting down. And I think we have a big bullseye on us. I think everybody would like to beat us. We're the team in the SEC that is kind of on a roll right now, and we just need to take it a day at a time.
You do come in here as one of the top teams in the nation. You are up against a very talented but lower-ranked Kentucky team. Is there concern that there could be a let-up?
I'm very concerned about it, and I think the kids feel it. I think they feel concerned about it. Kentucky does a lot of difficulty. I think they feel like they have to do more difficulty than their opponent to get the scores, and I think what we're trying to do is just be safe and be clean. We want to stick our landings and walk out of here with a score that'll help our regional qualifying score.
Well, good luck tonight, Coach. We're looking forward to it. Now for more in Kentucky, let's go over to Natalie.
Thanks, Lori. Coach Mo, a tough loss against Alabama last week, but you said Alabama was in your grasp. Do you feel the same of LSU?
Well, it's hard to say because the meet hasn't started yet, and it always happens after the second or third event. You find out, wow, where are we? Are we in the reach of LSU, or like at Alabama? After the third event, we were a point ahead, and then we felt that, we had a chance to get them. I think we were a point ahead. Either that or Auburn, we were both a point ahead. And we had a chance to get them, but you know what? We didn't do it. We didn't seize the opportunity. It's not always you get an opportunity to get Alabama, as you can tell by our record against Alabama. But when you have those opportunities, you really got to make the best of them.
Now, being Alabama last week, you finished on the beam. This week, LSU's on your turf, so you get to finish on the floor. Is that going to be a good asset to you and your girls?
It'll be a good asset if we do a good job on the beam. If we do a good job on the beam, they'll go to the floor mile high, ready to just tumble out of this world and do the best floor performances that they possibly can. If they don't do well on beam, what we're going to do is that means the coach's job is going to be really tough, because we're going to have to get them picked back up and let them know that, hey, look, it's not over yet. They still got to go to beam.
Okay. Sounds like these girls are ready to get their first SEC win. Now back to you, Jen.
Thanks, Natalie. We'll see if Kentucky can pull off the upset. It's been 9 years since they've beaten LSU here in Lexington. Michelle Gales will be helping them try to do that tonight, but April Burkholder will be leading the charge for those third-ranked LSU Tigers. We'll have LSU and Kentucky when we come back. Welcome back to Memorial Coliseum in Lexington, Kentucky. The Kentucky Wildcats preparing for rotation number 1, where they will be competing on vault. And you know Kentucky's had a few close competitions this season, which has given them some confidence.
I think it's motivating. I think we can keep up with pretty much every team that we go up against, even in the SECs. We just have to make sure we go out there and get the job done.
And first up on the vault for Kentucky, Michelle Gales, and this is one athlete who has gotten the job done after a superb competition against Alabama. She was voted Kentucky's Gymnast of the Week, and head coach Mo Muhammad says that she is carrying this team on her shoulders. Handspring front pike vault, a little bit of a step on the landing, but a solid first competitor for Kentucky. We're seeing less and less of this style of vault since the introduction of this new vaulting table. Very different than the old vaulting horse. We're seeing more of the Yurchenko style vaults, and actually on this table, the technique of this vault is much more difficult.
Well, Dee Dee Bro will see her team competing on vault in the next rotation, but right now the LSU Tigers are on bars, and this is an event where they are ranked number 3 in the country, Lori, so they have the capability of putting up some big scores here early. First up on bars is Catherine Hilton for LSU, a senior who has competed on bars in 2 meets this season.
She's actually a bar specialist, and she's in tonight instead of Kelly Phelan. Dee Dee told me that Catherine's routine is a little bit more difficult, and if she can hit, then they can boost their overall score on this event, and so far she's doing a fantastic job. Nice handstand position right there, hitting that vertical handstand and the dismount. Only a tiny hop. Excellent job for Catherine.
And Catherine puts up a season high 9.8. As we said, she'd only competed 2 times this season, but she betters both those scores and gets LSU off to a great start. Now up for LSU, Lisa Rennie, a sophomore, competing in 3 events tonight for the Tigers.
And of course, selecting a lineup, it's important to think of building on scores. They're building off a 9-8 here, and Lisa can definitely get higher than that with a hit routine. She has some fantastic difficulty, including this combination work here. Beautiful pirouette job. She'll head down to the low bar, hitting that handstand. Something that the judges have been extremely tough on this year. They want to see those handstands in the vertical position, or there will be a deduction. And the stuck landings. Excellent job again for LSU.
She's just such a solid competitor and does another nice performance for LSU here.
This is one of her major release moves, a transition from the low to high bar. It's called a Shaposhnikova. She has excellent flight time and gorgeous form.
And make it another season high for LSU. Lisa Rennie with a 9.875, her best score this season on bars. And on vault now for Kentucky, Lucy Bergen from Birmingham, Alabama.
Kentucky increasing their start value here. This vault is scored out of a 10, and boy, what a wonderful landing.
Lucy in the all-around tonight. Looks like she's getting off to a good start.
Kentucky has been strong with their landings so far. We see a nailed landing here. Beautiful block off the horse. She gets incredible height, and of course that's a blind landing. So difficult because you don't get to see the floor before your feet hit.
Career high for Lucy Bergen, but coming up, LSU's April Burkholder. We are in the middle of rotation 1 here in Lexington, Kentucky, and April Burkholder is getting set to go for LSU on bars, and what a competitor she is. If you look at her scores, Lori, from just this season, she leads the SEC. She's got the top marks in bars, beam, floor, and all around.
Dee Dee mentioned the pressure on her team. They're in a little bit of a different situation this year. Now they are the team to beat, and for April, she is the all-arounder to beat. Most definitely a contender for that SEC all-around title in just a month. Nice combination into a Ginger. See Philip Ogletree stepping in for those very difficult release elements just in case April comes off the bar. It's a concern for safety. Hitting her final handstand, just the dismount. It's a difficult one, a double layout. She has to take a step on the landing.
And you mentioned, Lori, that April is one of the top all-arounders in the SEC, competing the all-around tonight, but how'd she do in her first event here?
Routine was excellent itself. She had a little difficulty on this landing, the major deduction in the routine. She comes off a little bit early, and that takes the dismount long and forces her to take that step backwards.
Well, April has a high of 9.925. She gets a 9.85 there. On vault, Crystal Cook for Kentucky.
She anchors Kentucky's vault lineup because she is the biggest, most powerful vaulter they have. Beautiful 10-0 start value vault, and boy, does she execute that landing.
Well, Crystal is from Austin, Texas. She told me she hopes she has some Texas in her vault because everything's bigger in Texas.
Talk about a huge vault, beautiful block in the air, and look at that landing. Excellent job in bending her knees and absorbing all of that power she created through the block off the table.
Great score there for Crystal Cook. She had a 9.9, and Kentucky with a very good score to start things off. A 49.1 ties their season high. Well, the final competitor in rotation number 1 is Annie Gagnon for LSU, an All-American on bars.
An excellent event for Annie. She has beautiful form, nice stretch and execution in all of her elements. There's her big release skill there. It's called the Horkina. You can hear her teammates on the side clapping when she hits her handstand positions. A little bit of an arch back in her straddle back. Again, I have to mention the importance of those handstands. Double layout, beautiful sky high, a gorgeous dismount. Another good routine for LSU.
And Annie is actually tied with April Burkholder for the highest mark in the SEC this season, a 9.925.
Here comes the Horkina. She goes from a reverse grip in a front swing, pops her body over the high bar with a half turn. Very original.
And Annie gets a 9.85 to finish things up for the LSU Tigers in this first rotation. LSU winds up with a 49.2. So, folks, if you're keeping track there, that means we have a very close competition heading into rotation number 2. Just a 1/10 of a point separates these two teams. We'll pick up rotation 2 next. It's Kentucky and LSU in gymnastics tonight. We're set to start rotation number 2 in Lexington, Kentucky. Jen Hildreth along with Lori Strong-Ballard and Natalie Taylor. LSU competing on vault in this rotation. They are ranked number 4 in this event. Of course, they're ranked number 3 in the country, so they're up there in just about every apparatus.
LSU was amazing in this event against Georgia in their last outing. So solid on their landings. April Yurchenko layout full. She scored a 9.95 against Georgia. She'll get a little bit lower than that here because of that hop on the landing. Didi mentioned, though, that they were struggling in warm-up on this event because the vault runway, she says, is a little bit thinner here than they're used to. Sometimes an away team has to adjust to the equipment when you're competing in a different arena.
Well, Kentucky is on bars, something they're very used to here in their home floor at Memorial Coliseum. And down just a 1/10 of a point coming into this rotation, certainly looking to try to make up some ground here, not let LSU get any farther away. So looking to try to get some big scores. Rachel Riley, the sophomore from Dallas, Texas, will try to do that.
6 athletes compete, 5 scores count. Kentucky's first up athlete scored a 9.075 with a fall. So they hope to drop that one. The key here is to get 5 solid routines and to build on the scores. Giant full to an out bar to Kachev, right into her shoot over. A little bit short on that last handstand. Small deduction there. Giant full combination into a double tuck dismount and a clean landing.
Coach Mo Muhammad said that Rachel is one of the most talented athletes he's had the privilege of coaching.
And Rachel gets her team back on track after a miss. Nice combination work of a giant full into a Tkachev, and she continues back down to the low bar. A little bit of a leg separation there, but an excellent routine and a good score.
Solid score for Rachel Riley of a 9.8. And what a talented freshman here for LSU on vault, Ashley Claire Kearney.
Amazing power. Yurchenko layout full. The same vault we just saw April perform, but a better landing. This will be a big score.
This freshman has been so consistent. She's had a 9.925 the past 2 meets.
She gets great distance and height. Very explosive off the table. You see a salto with a full twist. She has plenty of time to see that mat and really get after the landing.
And make it 3 big scores in a row for Ashley Claire Kearney, but Michelle Gales is up for Kentucky next. Welcome back to Lexington, Kentucky. We are in the middle of rotation number 2 here between LSU and Kentucky. For Kentucky, senior Michelle Gales is one of their top athletes, and you know, she's got a pretty good fan following, but Natalie Taylor is standing by with her biggest fan.
At the University of Kentucky, one of the most known fans and heard fans is Vanessa Gales, Michelle Gales' mother. Michelle's favorite event is the floor. What's it like as a mother to watch Michelle perform her favorite event?
Oh, it's very exciting, especially after we get through the first double layout. After that, we're set and we're ready to go.
Along with being a tremendous fan of UK gymnastics, she's also been designated the unofficial team mom. And I've heard your attendance record is pretty impressive.
Yeah, out of her whole 4 years, I've only missed 2 meets. Just 2, and I'm traveling all over. This time I'm going back-to-back meets from Florida to Nebraska in 1 weekend.
So if you're ever around UK gymnastics and you hear,
"Let's go, baby girl!"
now you know where it's coming from. Back to you, Jen.
Thank you, Natalie. What a great story and great interview there with Michelle's mom. You know, she told us that before every meet, she comes and Michelle comes over and gives her her necklace and she puts it on, and then she brings Michelle apple juice and crackers, little routine that they have.
You know, an athlete's 4 years really flies by, and it's so wonderful to see that she's able to experience this with her mom by her side.
Absolutely.
I know her mom and Michelle are feeling pressure here. Mo said they must not count a fall to challenge LSU for this win. They already have 1 fall on bars, but a solid performance by Michelle guarantees now that they will not count a fall.
I think her mom might have been yelling some of those "Go Baby Girls" right there.
I think so. And maybe a big sigh of relief after this release element. Pike Jagger, it's one of the most difficult release elements in the book, an E-level skill. She gets 2/10 a bonus plus combination bonus because of the difficult element before it.
No fall there for Michelle Gales. She picks up a 9.8. And for LSU, competing on vault for the first time this season, Taryn Martin-Jack, she's competing in place of Annie Gagnon.
A last-minute substitution because Annie is dealing with a painful foot injury. We mentioned the different equipment. LSU is finding this vault runway to have a little bit less padding. It's thin, and that can give a beating to the feet and the legs. So they are saving Annie, and now Taryn gets some valuable competition experience here. Competing a handspring front pike, gorgeous form in the air, a little bit lower start value than the vault that Annie would have performed, just a hop on the landing.
Taryn Martin-Jack receives a 9.7 to finish things out in rotation number 2 for LSU. Tigers with a 49.15, that's better than their season average, so they're chugging right along with some big scores so far. Crystal Cook on bars for Kentucky says this is her favorite event because she loves the feeling of weightlessness.
Bars is a really fun event to compete because everything happens so quick. There's no time to second guess yourself like say on beam or on floor. It's an aggressive event. Talk about weightlessness. Take a look at the dismount, a double layout, 2 rotations in a nice stretched position. Good difficulty, just a step there. There's a giant half, hitting her handstand positions, and a Tkachev. Nice height on that release element, something that the judges are most definitely looking for.
Crystal Cook anchors this rotation for Kentucky. She gets a 9.825 as Kentucky finishes up in this second rotation. Final score there of 48.925. So just a little bit behind LSU in this rotation. Tigers may be opening up that lead just a little bit. Wildcats will try to balance things out on beam when we come back. We're at the halfway point here at Memorial Coliseum in Lexington, Kentucky. This gymnastics meet between LSU and the hometown Kentucky Wildcats. Jen Hildreth along with Lori Strong-Ballard and Natalie Taylor. And Natalie is with LSU coach Dee Dee Bro.
Thanks, Jen. halfway point of the meet, headed onto the floor. How do you think your gymnasts are doing here at the University of Kentucky?
Well, I think that we had a really shaky warm-up on vaulting, and they handled it really well, competed up a level, so I feel good about that. We weren't consistent last week on floor, and I feel like we got a few question marks, so I'm just going to wait and see. I think we're ready, but we've got a couple of tumbling passes that I would consider a little soft.
Well, good luck on floor, and back to you, Jen.
I don't know, Natalie. I have a feeling LSU is always ready to go on floor. After all, this is an event where they are ranked number 2 in the country. So, Lori, some big scores possible top to bottom in this lineup. And Ashley Claire Kearney is an athlete who's ranked number 5 in the country in this event.
Ashley is averaging close to a 9.9 on this event. So far this year, we saw some power in her vaulting. We're going to see it again in her tumbling. Almost steps out of bounds there, right in the corner. Had she stepped over that line, it would have been a mandatory 1/10 deduction. LSU always has very vocal home crowds, so this team really takes a lot of pride in preparing their routines and choreographing routines that will be entertaining. Really pull in the audience so that they can enjoy it as well as the judges.
And I think the crowd here enjoying some of these LSU routines, even though they are not the team they're rooting for the most, but as you said, they are entertaining.
Required element is at least a 360-degree turn. And her final tumbling pass. Looking for a good landing here. Combination front full to a front tuck and a big smile. Another consistent, strong routine for Ashley. No soft tumbling passes there.
I don't think so. Ashley already has a 9.925 on vault in this meet, now looking to put up some numbers on floor.
She hits gorgeous height, finishing with a double back. One of the most difficult final tumbling passes, considering endurance is so difficult on this event.
Ashley receives a 9.875. Well, Kentucky will be competing on beam in this rotation, and that's an area where they have struggled as of late.
Beam's not a weakness. I think our mental preparation is a weakness. I think they forget the things they do in the workout. If it was a weakness, then we would go 60%, 70% in the workouts. I have kids that'll go all week and not miss a beam routine and come out here and decide they want to put their feet on the beam, you know? So it's not so much beam that's a weakness, it's competing beam that they got to get under control.
Training and competing beam are two very different animals. You can learn more about yourself with one routine in competition than 10 routines in a safe gym environment.
Up now on beam for Kentucky, the junior Lucy Bergen, who we saw have a career high earlier in this meet on vault.
Hoping to build off the confidence from a great vault. Kentucky needs it. They have already suffered a fall, so it's important for Lucy to get them back on track here. And, you know, I really think this is an interesting turning point for both these teams. They both struggled on their respective events. LSU struggled on floor against Georgia in their last competition, and Kentucky on beam against Alabama. They admitted they had a meltdown on this event. So it's important for them to make adjustments here and big improvements.
Yeah, Kentucky had 3 falls on beam against Alabama in the final rotation, and they led the Crimson Tide going into that rotation. So when you say meltdown, you know, Coach Mo Muhammad definitely felt that his team was in it in that meet down to this event.
The coaches and athletes were extremely frustrated after that performance because they really felt they could have had a win against one of the best teams in the country. Lucy doing an excellent job here, finishing up strong with a nice solid landing on her dismount. She definitely gets this team back on track.
Well, the Wildcats needed a strong routine, and they got it.
One of the biggest concerns usually for an athlete on this event is the tumble series here. Lucy does a back handspring layout. You can see she's a little bit crooked, but she's quite aggressive in her lunge position. 9.825, a second career high of the night.
Not too shabby, I'd say, for Lucy, having a couple of career highs in this meet. And on floor, it is the SEC Gymnast of the Week for the Tigers, Kelly Phelan. She led LSU in the all-around against Georgia in their last meet.
Another very entertaining floor routine from LSU. A little bit short on her first tumbling pass.
Yeah, this is the one I couldn't get over last week because I love the music and the style that she puts into it.
Second tumbling pass, a front tumbling. It's called a Rudy. It's a front layout with a 1.5 twist. Routine's packed full of those signature Michael Jackson dance elements.
See so much creativity in this event.
Trying to enjoy yourself throughout the dance, and at the same time making sure that she's breathing, getting oxygen to her muscles, because this last tumbling pass is so difficult. The routine is 1.5 minutes long. Endurance is such a huge requirement on this event, and we did see a mistake from Kelly on her final tumbling pass. She missed an element. She left out her front tuck out of the front full.
Kelly obviously frustrated. Let's take another look at that final pass.
A great routine until this pass, and she's hit with a double whammy. Not only will she get a deduction for a missed requirement because you have to have a tumbling pass with 2 saltos, but she also doesn't get that added bonus. So her start value is lowered from a 10 to a 9.7, and that's reflected in the score, 9.475.
Well, Rachel Riley will try to keep things going for Kentucky on beam when we come back. We are midway through rotation number 3. Rachel Riley on beam for the Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky has struggled with consistency not only on this event, but some other events as well this year. And Mo told his team that he wanted them to start the season over with this meet. A fresh start, a new mindset. And so far, we have seen a much stronger Kentucky team.
Yeah, Kentucky really hanging with LSU, at least the scores we saw through the first 2 rotations. Just a couple tenths of a point separating the 2 teams.
You see assistant coach Megan Fenton in the background there. She is their beam coach, making notes on their clipboard. Taking a look at where these routines can be improved. Again, Kentucky has suffered 1 fall. First athlete up, just like on bars. So the pressure's on here. They have to get 5 hit routines. Excellent dismount. Round off 1.5 twist and a solid landing.
Nice job there by Rachel Riley, making it through a solid routine.
Kentucky's most definitely having a comeback performance this week. I know that they trained extremely hard in the gym this week to take care of some of those mistakes that they made against Alabama.
And holding on there on beam, Rachel at a 9.775. Well, April Burkholder in the all-around tonight, something she enjoys.
Well, I definitely think it's a privilege to compete in the all-around, and especially on this team because it's a great team this year. And to have all your teammates behind you 100%, it's great, you know, just to be in all 4 events.
A great all-arounder is someone who is consistent across 4 events, something that April is most definitely, but she also shines on this event. She's not yet ranked on floor because of a low 9.425 the first meet of the season, but after this week, the rankings go by a different system, and she'll be able to drop that 9.425, and I believe that she will go up in the rankings. Most definitely, she is one of the best floor workers in the country.
Well, and don't forget, it wasn't too long ago April had a perfect 10 on floor. She did that against Arkansas earlier this month. So she is very talented here.
She takes a lot of pride in this routine. She's increased her difficulty this year, and of course, she choreographs her own routine.
April has so much style, choreographs her routine, and you know, you may have heard rumors that she also raps a bit. In fact, she put those talents to good use. She was part of a talent show that raised more than $4,000 to benefit former LSU goalkeeper Robin DeSormo. Robin was recently diagnosed with cancer. She is undergoing chemotherapy, and boy, the athletes did a great job raising some money toward that cause.
A fantastic benefit that they all supported. Showing off fantastic style, big tumbling, and a great routine for LSU.
Well, April is leading the all-around coming into this rotation. Looks like she will add to that total here.
One of the biggest difficulty in the competition, we see a lot of the athletes do a double back, but April adds a full twist to the first rotation. She needs big height and quickness, and of course, cat-like awareness to do that tumbling pass.
And a 9.925 for April Burkholder as LSU finishes up on 4 with a 49.325. Another great score for the Tigers. Kentucky trying to keep up here on beam, trying to be clean. And as we've mentioned all throughout, avoid those falls. Bethany Strow in now for Kentucky. Last-minute substitution.
A last-minute replacement for Krista Prestigiacomo, who's sitting out this competition because of an illness. Bethany's last up, and that increases the pressure. Kentucky simply cannot afford a fall, and she's solid on her tumble series. 2 back handsprings to a layout.
One thing Bethany said she does before meets is she visualizes all of her routines, and I gotta think, Lori, especially on something like that, like beam, that's so important.
That is a very common training technique on this event. Visualizing the routine, seeing every element performed perfectly and with the same timing that you would do in competition.
Boy, you even see her giving a big smile on beam. A lot of times gymnasts seem so serious and focused on this event, but she's just smiling out at that crowd.
It almost looks like she's enjoying this performance. And the dismount, a gainer full. She should enjoy that, and Kentucky will enjoy the score. And of course, 5 hits, that's what they're looking for. Tumble series, she tumbles 3 elements in a row. There is plenty of time to go crooked. She hangs in there, pulls the arms up by the ears. That keeps her centered over that 4-inch wide beam.
Plenty of reason to smile for Bethany now. A career high 9.8 makes that last-minute substitution look pretty good for Kentucky. And the Wildcats receive a 48.65 in this rotation. LSU in the lead. They are up by a point, but Kentucky will be on 4 in the final rotation. This is the final rotation of the evening for LSU and Kentucky. Dee Dee Bro encouraging her Tigers as they head into the balance beam, which really this is LSU's weakest event of the 4. They're only ranked 7 in the country on this one. They've been top 4 in the other 3 events, so obviously still very strong, but an event where maybe they're looking to see some improvement. Annie Gagnon, the senior, up now.
Showing off a unique, interesting mount. LSU is well on their way to a solid road score, something that Dee Dee said was very important. Their first competition of the season, they scored only a 193 and change, so they hope to drop that. And after this week, they go to what's called a regional qualifying score, where they will take their 6 highest scores, with at least 3 of them having to be away scores. So now they can start to drop some of their lower scores, and that will change the averages, and we're going to see a little bit of a mix-up in the rankings.
So it's good to keep in mind when you see competitions like this, teams obviously competing against one another, but also competing to put up those big scores to put toward that RQS.
Absolutely. It's not just about the wins and losses. Annie told me that she struggles a little bit with confidence on this event, but she's certainly not showing that tonight. Solid on every single skill. Just the dismount remains. Cartwheel, gainer full twist, nice height, and a good landing.
You can see some of Annie's personality there, and we saw a lot of that talking to her before the meet. She's just a delightful young lady.
Very much in the zone throughout this competition, but afterwards celebrating with her teammates. That's what competition's all about. An excellent routine.
And an excellent score, a career high 9.925 for the LSU senior. Well, Kentucky will be on floor in this rotation. They've put up a 49.25 on this event. That's a very good score. Crystal Cook, an athlete who can score high. This just her second appearance on floor this season.
Opening pass, nice high, tight body position in her double tuck. Very powerful music to match her powerful ability and personality. Round out back handspring, double pike. Same as the first tumbling pass, but this time in the pike position, and now she's showing off that brilliant smile. Very strong poses and dance positions throughout the routine. Very stimulating to the eye, and the final tumbling pass. Front layout, front tuck. Solid landings on all three tumbling passes. Great routine.
Thinking Kentucky might want to consider keeping Crystal in this floor lineup. As we said, just her second floor performance of the season, but what a performance she put on.
And a great night overall for Crystal. Not competing in the all-around, but she's been a 3-event stud for them. I'd say she's been their MVP of the meet so far.
Hey, a 9.8 helps. It's a season high for Crystal Cook. And speaking of team stud, Kelly Phelan, the SEC Gymnast of the Week for LSU. Competing on balance beam now.
Kelly had a fantastic all-around performance just a week ago against Georgia.
Kelly not competing the all-around tonight, just doing 3 events. Vault, floor, now balance beam.
And a solid tumble series, 2 back handsprings to a layout. Dee Dee describes her as a workhorse in the gym. It pays off in competition. A little hesitation there between her 2 jumps. Switch leap to a very difficult tuck full. Anytime you add a twist to a jump, you're going to increase the difficulty. And another big difficult skill there. Dee Dee loves it, giving her a round of applause there. A front tuck. It's very comforting on beam to hear the cheers from your teammates. You hear them in the gym. You enjoy to hear them in the competition arena as well. Kind of gives you a little bit of confidence, that little extra boost sometimes that you need when you're performing all alone up on that 4-inch wide beam. Again, 3 tumble skills in a row. So easy to go crooked on one of those elements. Kelly does a great job at hitting the landing.
Big score for Kelly too, a 9.9 as LSU will continue on beam. April Burkholder coming up when we come back. Things are winding down here in Lexington as we are in the second half of the final rotation. Rachel Riley on floor for Kentucky.
1.5 twist to a front layout. Very clean form. Keeping the legs glued together throughout the twisting elements. We're seeing a little bit of a different style from Rachel as well. A little bit more of a classical ballet feel to her choreography, but still with good energy and very upbeat.
Rachel says this is her favorite event to perform, especially at home.
With half front layout, front tuck, excellent 3 salto tumbling pass. Choreography isn't just about executing the body lines and the movements, but it's all about that facial expression as well, making eye contact with your teammates, with the fans in the crowd and the judges, showing off personality either through a smile and an intense look, whatever matches the choreography and the music. An excellent routine for Rachel.
Rachel said her favorite thing about gymnastics is that adrenaline rush you get. I'd say she probably is having a bit of one of those adrenaline rushes right now.
And you definitely need adrenaline in this 3 salto pass. Very important to keep the speed moving across the floor and keep that rhythm going into that 3rd salto element.
And you see Rachel's score there, a 9.75. Someone who's put up some big scores tonight, LSU's April Burkholder. She leads the all-around after 3 rotations. On bars, she swung her way to a 9.85 to start the night off. Then on vault, she might be small, but she can bring some power. A 9.875 for April there, and then her biggest score so far, a 9.925 on floor. This event, though, the balance beam, has really been something, Lori, that April has struggled with, especially when she gets to that end of her routine, the dismount. She's had a fall the last couple of meets.
She has increased her difficulty in the dismount. Talked to her a little bit about that. She missed it against Georgia. She says, you know, I hit it 99% of the time in practice. I just need to learn to hit it in competition. I'm not going to take it out. Remember, we still have a month before the SEC championship, so these teams don't need to be peaking right now. They don't want to be peaking right now. See April wearing beam shoes. Not a lot of the athletes choose to wear the shoes. Oh, little mistake right there. She missed her connection between the switch leap and the sheep jump, but very smart and quick thinking. She added another jump. We'll have to see if the judge gives her credit for that combination. And here's the dismount. There it is, double pike. This time she's on her feet.
She takes a step but stays on her feet. As we said, April, a couple falls the last 2 meets, but not in this one.
Against Georgia, she came in short, didn't have enough rotation to put her hands down. This time, plenty of rotation, almost overcompensates and has to take that step. The score, 9.75. That's a result of that missed jump combination in the middle of the routine.
Well, April finishes this rotation and this meetup for the LSU Tigers, a 49.25. Well, Michelle Gale's second in the all-around coming into this final rotation. See a little smile there, Laura. You know, as we look back at what she's done in this meet, coming out of her shell, being a leader, something Michelle's been working on.
Michelle has been quite relaxed, smiling throughout this competition. She really leads this team, not only with her scores, but also her attitude. Coach Mo told me they put her through a training program to help teach her to be a leader, and it is really showing up on the competition floor.
And you see her mom, Vanessa, looking on there. This is the event that she said is her favorite, Michelle's floor routine. And boy, when you talk about personality, you're going to see it here already. A big smile from Michelle, something she admits she's had to work on because she's normally so serious and intense.
Something her mother said that she was concerned with always is this opening pass, double layout, huge difficulty, and yes, she does step over those white lines, and that will be a 1/10 deduction that will come off the final score. But some of the biggest difficulty of the competition, huge power. Michelle is an aggressive athlete. We see it in the tumbling. But she says it's also very important for her to come across as someone who is having fun. She is really working hard and trying to come out of her shell, and she's done a good job this year in terms of cleaning up her dance elements as well.
Well, and it's funny, you know, I asked her with all this personality and style that we see from her on floor, it's the one thing she wanted to get across, and she said that I'm a nice person. Everybody thinks I'm so mean because she's always so focused and's got that game face on.
There's nothing wrong with being an intense competitor. Her mom loves it.
Definitely likes what she sees.
You know, we've really seen some strong performances from Kentucky tonight. Michelle opening with a huge double layup. We've seen some big difficulty from them. I think the biggest difference between LSU and Kentucky is that Kentucky is strong 1 through 3. They need to work on their depth on those 4th, 5th, and 6th routines.
Well, Kentucky putting on a good show and a good fight tonight in this final rotation. LSU, though, gets the nod in this one, and Lori's standing by with Dee Dee Bro.
Thanks, Jen. Coach, a well-fought win, a great score. You talked about some problems in warm-up. Are you pleased with the way the team fought through some adversities tonight?
I really am, because I feel like if you can compete and conquer some adversity in a meet like this, you're going to have adversity down the road. You've got to know that your team can pull together and get through an event without crumbling.
And a big road score, a high 196. Are you pleased with that, and how will that help you in terms of your regional qualifying?
Well, it helped us a lot, because our first meet out was a very low score. We'll be able to drop that one and count this as a road score. So I was very pleased.
Well, congratulations. It was an exciting competition. Back to you, Jen.
Thank you, Lori. Dee Dee Bro also pleased with those all-around results. April Burkholder winning her 3rd all-around title. She's standing by with Natalie Taylor.
Thanks, Jen. Entering tonight, April, you were at the top of the SEC in 4 events, including the all-arounds. You've added another all-around to your resume tonight here at Kentucky. Congratulations. Tell me about tonight.
Tonight felt really good, to go out there and hit all 4 for 4 routines. I've been practicing that and, working on my little mistakes, and I just wanted to come in here and fix those things. And especially, I was happy about my beam dismount, because I've had 2 falls in a row on that in the past 2 weeks. And I just felt good about that, going in there and hitting. And it's good to have another team score, good team score away on the road. So.
Well, you've definitely fixed your individual problems. Congratulations. And now back to you, Jen.
Thank you, Natalie. The LSU Tigers getting the win and proving that they are among the best in the country. Lori, I know we've talked about it, but getting that big score on the road, very important.
LSU showed character and fight tonight. They did push through some of those equipment adversities, something that comes with competing on the road. They felt that the vault runways was a little bit thinner. They had to make adjustments in warm-up. They also made lineup changes. They had some small mistakes, but it really did not faze this team.
And you take a look on the other side, Kentucky, they put up a 195.55. That's a season high and the best score that they've had since 2002.
And for Kentucky, the first meet in a year and a half where they did not count a fall. Here we are mid-season, and most definitely, head coach Mo got his turning point.
Well, those Kentucky Wildcats hoping to continue turning the corner, just proving you can't count any team in the SEC out. And the next time we'll be seeing you will be for those ultra-competitive SEC championships just about a month from now. Lori, always can expect great competition there.
7 teams on the competition floor at one time. A head-to-head competition that will decide the best in the SEC.
It's many times called the mini NCAA meet, a little bit of a preview of what you will see when it comes time to decide the national champion. Certainly some of the best in the country here in the SEC. For tonight, I'm Jen Hildreth along with Lori Strong-Ballard and Natalie Taylor. We'll say good night from Lexington.